On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again.
Yes, we're on the road again with Destination 101, the podcast of District 101 Toastmasters, hosted by Solarzar. Now, in our last episode, we discussed that leadership is the best expression of ourselves in the world, an expression of the best we have to offer. We also mentioned how Toastmasters helps us take our ability to talk and turn it into communication. What we didn't discuss is how Toastmasters helps members refine and develop their communication skills. The greatest technique we practice is the evaluation of members' speeches. Last episode, I spoke about Dr. Ralph Smedley, the founder of Toastmasters International. In his book, Personally Speaking, he discusses why he created the evaluation process. It's always the speaker's responsibility to make his speech effective. The test of a speech is not in following the rule book, it's in making the sale. Evaluation, criticism, appraisal, discrimination, whatever you choose to call it, is the very essence of human progress. However eloquent the speaker may be, his training is unbalanced unless it enables him to evaluate speeches fairly. No Toastmaster club is fulfilling its obligations to its members unless it brings them the maximum of training in the use of constructive evaluation. The most important element of a speech is the reception by the audience. Dr. Smedley shared that there are three essential elements to an evaluation. Did the speaker accomplish his or her purpose? Did you enjoy listening to the speech? How could the speaker do better next time? However, just knowing those three elements wasn't enough for many Toastmasters, so different approaches were developed to advise members on how to do evaluations. Most common is the sandwich method. These are your strengths. Here's how you might improve. This is what I liked. So the recommendations are sandwiched in between positive statements on either end. Then there's the organizational method, which goes through the introduction, body, and conclusion. So the introduction, did the speaker get your attention? Did the speaker tell you what the speech was going to be about? And what do you think could have been done differently? And then in the body, how were the main points organized? How did the speaker support his or her main points? Were the points balanced? Were the speech transitions logical? Was the information clear and understandable? And then the conclusion of the speech. Did the speaker summarize the main points of the speech in the conclusion? What was the overall message delivered by the speech? Did the conclusion create a memorable close for the message of the speech? See, the evaluation and recommendations are not grouped. They're grouped in order of the different structure of the speech, the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. But my personal favorite technique is what I call the evaluator's motto. This is what I saw. This is what I heard. This is what I felt. Now, similar to the organization method, you don't do a grouping of positive statements or recommendations. You just deal with what you saw, what you heard, and what you felt in order. So what I saw was a positive statement. What I would have liked to see is a recommendation. What I heard was a positive statement. What I would have liked to have heard, a recommendation. What I felt was a positive statement. What I would have liked to have felt, a recommendation. So as you can see, there are multiple ways of approaching an evaluation. You can select an approach that feels most comfortable to you. But often members will say, well, you must provide 3 positive statements and 3 areas of recommendation. Oh, hogwash. That's nonsense. That grew out of the intention that we need to balance our feedback so we don't overload a speaker with a whole bunch of recommendations and no positive recommendations. But I must ask you, what if you don't have 3 recommendations? Are you supposed to manufacture a third one just so you can have 3? Or what if you don't have 3 positive statements? Same question. Do you manufacture one? See, the 3 and 3 rule is arbitrary. Toastmasters International asks us to take the 3 elements from Dr. Smedley and expand them. Now, as a reminder, Dr. Smedley's 3 elements are: did the speaker accomplish his purpose? Did you enjoy listening to the speech? How could the speaker do better next time? The elements to consider when preparing and presenting an evaluation are, as first, show the speaker that you're interested. Be interested. I once had to do an evaluation for a graduate student who was dealing with international economics at their graduate school, international finance and economics. Her speech was about the international economic situation. I could not have thought of a more boring speech for me to have to listen to. However, I sat down, put my evaluator hat on, and did not prejudge. Did she engage me? She did. Was the information interesting? It was. Were there areas I could have suggested recommendations for potential improvement or alternate presentations? There were. But overall, I congratulated her for taking a subject that I thought would be dry and making it informative and entertaining to me. So, show that you're interested. Your objective is to help the speaker. Your objective is not to show what you know or how well you can present yourself or how good an evaluator you are. Your objective is to help the speaker. Your challenge is to point out the strengths and weaknesses in a helpful and encouraging way. So consider the speaker's objectives. What are the objectives of the assignment that the speaker is doing? As we know in Toastmasters, our educational program is pathways. Our speeches and presentations are expected to come from the Pathways program. Therefore, each time we speak, we are working on a specific targeted objective for the assignment. Review and discuss the objectives of the assignment with the speaker. Ask the speaker about any concerns he or she is having regarding the speech or any objectives that he or she is working on personally on improving. Do they have a bad habit of doing something here? Or they're trying to work on a habit of doing this. Find out what it is so you can focus on that. I always appreciate it when the speaker gives me an objective that they personally are working on that's aside from the objective of the presentation itself. And then personalize your language. This is audience feedback to the speaker. This is not expert presentations or directions. Audience feedback. It's traditional walk a mile in the person's moccasins. So here are the phrases to avoid. You don't say you didn't, you should have, you failed to, they say, and we all know how they are, one must. In Toastmasters, we don't. You know, in personally speaking, there's another area where Dr. Smedley talks about how things have gone into this in Toastmasters we don't language. He said there's no such thing, and he's the founder, but we've still developed it and broadened it further. He said, for instance, he once evaluated someone who put their hands in their pocket during a part of their speech when he felt it detracted from the message being provided. So when he said you should not have put your hands in your pocket at that point, all of a sudden people took it. In Toastmasters, we don't put our hands in our pocket. Well, that's horse hockey. If an element of your speech requires you to put your hands in your pocket, or if it's a gesture that's appropriate to the story you're sharing, put your hands in your pocket. There is no in Toastmasters, we don't. Those are judgmental statements that deflate. affirming statements that inflate are personalized phrases such as "I felt." It seemed to me, from my point of view. I was having a discussion with someone today, and several times I shared, in my opinion, this, and this. The way I see it, this, and this. Now, what does that do? That leaves the door opening for the other individual to have their point of view. It doesn't have to be the same. We have two rules as a speaker that receives an evaluation. One, listen, take notes, consider. That's one. Two, maybe you don't change a thing from the evaluation given. Why? It's a person's point of view. It may not feel appropriate. That doesn't mean you shouldn't consider it, but you may not apply it at all. However, when we're giving the evaluation, we want to stress, I am not telling someone how to make their speech better. I'm telling them how I thought something could have been done differently from my point of view. My reaction was, my impression was, I believe, I suggest that. Remember, the evaluator's mantra is what I saw, what I heard, what I felt. Evaluate the speech, not the speaker. The evaluation is not about the person. Always keep your main purpose in mind. Your purpose as an evaluator is to support, help, and encourage the speaker. Don't impose your value systems on the speaker. All comments must focus on the delivery, not the person. Evaluate what the speaker does, not who the speaker is. To help promote self-esteem, you as an evaluator must listen, take notes, present your opinion as your opinion, give honest and sincere praise where appropriate, positive reinforcement when improvements occur from speech to speech, and encourage and inspire the speaker to participate again. Now, we've all heard that phrase in Toastmasters, I look forward to your next speech. Well, maybe that doesn't feel so true for you. Maybe you don't look forward. But maybe you can look forward to how they approach their next speech, how they do their next speech, what their next speech topic might be. Think of a way to say, I want to hear you again. Because in Toastmasters, we provide that safe, supportive environment for people to improve their communication skills. The way they do it in the club is by giving their speeches. Encourage them to give their speeches. Keep the empty platitudes out of the evaluation. Keep the extra superlatives that was truly amazing. I have never heard a speech that, if I die tomorrow, I'll know I've heard the greatest speech that was ever made. Well, stop it. There was an evaluation contest I attended in the district one time, and the winning evaluator said 3 or 4 times, actually 5 times, to the guest speaker, that was a great speech. Ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't a great speech. Every time she said it, I cringed. It was not a great speech. I understand that what we're doing when we're giving an evaluation is very often giving extended table topics because it's impromptu from our notes, and we're trying to organize it, present it, and coherently engage the audience and provide the information for the speaker. However, drop the superlatives. When you did this, I enjoyed that. When you did this, this was very good. I liked the way you did that. There's no superlatives there. It's just simple, factual acknowledgement. You know, during an evaluation speech contest, each evaluator is judged against 4 factors: analytical quality, recommendations, technique, and summation. Now, analytical quality is 40% of the total points for the evaluation. It includes the overall effectiveness of the evaluation. Did the evaluator analyze the strengths and weaknesses of the speaker and the speaker's presentation, rather? Were the evaluator's comments clear and logical? Did the evaluator identify the strengths and weaknesses of the presentation specifically. The next element in the judging criteria for evaluation are the recommendations. And that's 30% of the total points for the evaluator. Did the evaluation offer specific recommendations for improvement? Were the recommendations practical, helpful, and positive? Remember earlier when I talked about the 3 and 3? Well, if you don't have 3 and 3, why would you offer that you're going to provide 3 and 3? Evaluation recommendations must be practical, helpful, and positive. Technique is 15% of the total points. So was the evaluator sensitive to the needs of the speaker while inspiring the speaker in his or her future speaking efforts? So this is, how did you present your response back to them? Did you share what I saw, what I heard, what I felt? Did you say, I saw you do this? I would have liked to have seen you do this. Positive recommendation, positive recommendation. You don't have to do it specifically that way, but was it something where you told them what worked well for you and told them something that you would have liked to have seen a different way? Were you sensitive to the needs of the speaker? Or were you creating a frame that they had to do something because that's how we do it in Toastmasters? The last criteria, and I've seen many evaluators lose points here, is the summation. Did the evaluator's comments and suggestions, were they positive and encouraging? And did they wrap it up in their summation as a reminder? Or did they just close with, and I look forward to your next speech? So what does all of this mean? It means evaluation is not about 3 strengths and 3 areas of improvement. It's not about the sandwich method. It's not about the organizational method. It's not even about the evaluator's motto. All the BS about the technique is intended to provide a framework to allow a member to learn how to present an evaluation, but the framework is not the evaluation. It's about listening to the speech, providing authentic, valid feedback to the speaker, understand their needs and objectives, be affirming, be practical, be supportive. Remember that our member clubs provide supportive and positive learning environments, allowing each member to develop their communication and leadership skills at their own pace. Knowing that evaluation is audience member feedback to the speaker, and through evaluation, we support each other's growth. In addition, evaluation is a key component of our leadership development in Toastmasters, providing positive, encouraging, constructive feedback to allow a member to improve, to move forward, to grow. As we said in our last episode, leadership is the best expression of ourselves in the world, and the expression of the best we have to offer. Toastmasters is where leaders are made. There are 143 clubs in District 101, which stretches from Mountain View to King City in California. If you don't already belong to Toastmasters, I encourage you to Google search Find a Toastmasters Club to locate and visit a club near you. If you're a member of Toastmasters, I thank you for your contribution. And until our next podcast, remember to always be who you are. Thank you.